Hi everyone, so this is Concrete 7, which is the test method for bleeding of concrete. So in this test, we're going to measure the relative amount of water that will bleed from a freshly mixed concrete. So here we have our concrete, and then we're going to put this concrete into this container, and then we're going to measure the amount of water that's going to be on the surface from bleeding. So now I'm going to add the concrete into the container. So I'm going to add it in 3 layers and tamp each layer 25 times. So this is the rod. I'm going to rod it 25 times. And now I'm going to tamper it with the hammer. So now I'm going to start adding the second layer. Now I'm going to add the final layer, and I'm going to leave 25 milliliters from the surface to allow for the bleed water to accumulate on the surface of this container on top of the fresh concrete. Now I'm just going to use this trowel to smoothen the surface so we can have a flat surface so that the water can accumulate on top of the fresh concrete. Alright, so now we have a smooth surface. So we're going to wait 10 minutes, then we're going to come back and check if there's any bleeding water, and then we have to wait and then we have to measure the water every 10-minute interval until bleeding ceases, and the amount of water we collected becomes our bleeding water. So now while we're waiting, we're going to cover the surface with the glass plate so that the water doesn't evaporate. And then we're going to wait 10 minutes and take the measurements from the water that accumulates at the top. So the first 10 minutes passed. So now we're going to see if there is any water on the surface, and then if there is, we're going to use the syringe to extract all the water, and then weigh all the water, put all the water in this beaker, and then see how much total volume of water we get at the end of the whole process. So we're going to use this block of wood just to tilt the container to help us into collecting the water. So there is some water that's on the surface from bleeding. So now we removed all the water that's on the surface. We put in the beaker. So now we're gonna put back the glass plate and wait another 10 minutes and see if there's any bleeding, and repeat the whole process again. So now the 10 minutes passed, so let's check again. So there is some bleeding water, so again we're gonna put the wooden block. And then we're going to extract all the water that's on the surface using the syringe. Okay, so we're going to place the glass plate on the container again and check again after 10 minutes. So now 10 minutes have passed again, so let's check if there's any additional bleeding water. So as you can see, no water has accumulated on the top like the 2 times before that, so which means the bleeding has ceased, and this much water that we have is our total bleeding water. So this is the total volume. You divide it by the surface area and you get the relative bleeding for the concrete, for this freshly mixed concrete.